Okay, here we go. All right, hopefully everyone can hear me. Um, we'd like to introduce ourselves. My name is Charles, and this is Annette. We're with Village Concepts Realty Group. We are both licensed realtors in Virginia and South Carolina. As realtors go, we are what you consider a buyer's agent and a seller's agent. We work with both buyers who are looking to find a home, and of course, we work with sellers who wish to sell their home on the market. A couple questions we get as realtors are, why buy a home now and why should I sell my home now? We'd like to take a little time to discuss those questions tonight. I went ahead and did a little research today that will back our thoughts on the answers to those questions. If you speak with any real estate agent at any agency, usually you will get the reply, it's a great time. So rather than just reply, it's a great time, I'd actually like to produce some data that backs that reply. It's a great time to buy now. So let's get going. Hopefully I will address all the questions during my discussion, but if not, at the end we will hang around for a few minutes to answer a few questions if needed. And if we don't know the answer to those questions, we'll do a little research and get back to you. So let's start with why buy a home now? We feel prices will continue to rise in 2019. It is our opinion, and most importantly, a lot of folks who study the market who are a lot smarter than we are, that feel home prices will rise again in 2019. Corel Logic forecasts a 4.8% increase in home prices nationally as an average. That will vary as you move across the U.S., but on average, a 4.8% increase going into 2019. Virginia is quoted as a 5.2% increase. Now, even if you drill down more to the specific areas like Powhatan and Chesterfield County, and even drill further down into neighborhoods, you may even find that that 5.2% increase may be larger, based on the desire to be in the neighborhood and inventory levels in those specific neighborhoods. Another reason we think it's a good time to buy right now is optimism is still high within the population as home buying goes. The Fed, a research company, posted the following: percentage of Americans who believe that home ownership is a good investment. In 2016, that was 59%. In 2017, that was 60%. And 2018, that was 65%. So enthusiasm is high. Another poll by Gallup states of the following investments: stocks, gold, savings accounts, and bonds, real estate topped all the options for long-term investments. Bonds were at 6% on the poll and real estate 34%, the highest of all the options on that particular poll. So another reason we feel it's a good time to buy and sell actually now are the interest rates are predicted to rise. Let's start with mortgage affordability. I found a chart by Zillow that reflected monthly mortgage payments as a percentage of the median household income. In 1985 to 2000, that ran about 21%. In 2006, it was 25.4%. In 2018, first quarter, it had dropped to 17.1%. So the combination of a strong economy and really low rates drove that percentage down. Even if the rates go up to, let's say, 5% range, it is predicted to be in the 19% range, so still lower than the past 30 years. Freddie Mac produced a chart that shows the rate fluctuations we've experienced over the past 3 years. The rates in 2015 were as low as the threes, and now they're in the upper fours, heading north of that in 2019, so they say. But if you compare the rates, even if they end up in the fives to historical rates from years past, we are still extremely low rates. As a teenager, I remember my father complaining about the rates he was paying on his mortgage. And of course, as a teenager, I really didn't understand his gripe as I'd never had a mortgage. Now understanding the market and how things go, I'm not sure how he dealt with rates being that high back in the mid 80s. Now looking back over the past 45 years of interest rates, we're in the best of times. So as an example, in 1971, rates were in that 7 to 8% range. In 1981 to 85, rates had jumped as high as 18, 19%. Can you imagine the payments? It was no wonder my father was pulling his hair out making those monthly payments. And now we're talking about rates heading north to the low fives. So as you can see, historically, we are doing really good today compared to the years past. So I found a chart also that took 4 of the major research companies, Freddie Mac, Fannie Mae, National Association of Realtors, and Mortgage Bankers Association, and their average rate projections for 2019 are for first quarter around 4.8, and by the end of the year, rates projected to be in the low 5 range. So of course, they could be higher or lower. But also keep in mind, in regards to rates, rates are driven by your personal credit, debt to income ratios, and equity down on the mortgage. So if there's any mortgage lenders watching this, I'm sure you appreciate that disclosure. One other thing to point out in regards to rates and why you should buy now, your buying power is incredibly strong right now. For example, if you want to keep your payments, principal and interest at $1,300 a month, for example, back in 1985 when those rates were sky high, you were looking at a $133,000 loan or less. Today, with the low rates we experience, and that loan amount is in that 240, maybe even higher range. So what a great time to buy. And as I said, buying power is really, really strong right now. So let's talk about housing inventories. Right now, they're starting to increase a little. And what that means to you as a buyer is you have a few more choices out there in the market. Inventories have run very low over the past year. And to explain a little more about the housing inventory, a normal market is considered to be about a 6-month supply of inventory. When that housing inventory drops below 6 months, we lean more towards a seller's market. And then sellers have more buyers knocking on the door, they get more offers, and they're able to hold more firmly into the pricing. So sellers have a little more control of the process. When inventory rises above 6 months supply, buyers have more options. And buyers become choosier and pickier, and therefore having more control of the market. We've experienced a seller's market of late due to the inventories being low, but some analysts are saying the housing market inventory will rise in 2019, therefore potentially balancing the market. And a balanced market is more desirable than a non-balanced market for sure. Lastly, I want to talk about renting versus buying a home and discuss some advantages as to why you should own a home rather than rent. So some buyers are under the impression you need a lot of money down to buy a home. Therefore, they never even look due to not having a huge savings account. So here's a stat according to Realtors Confidence Index. 61% of first-time buyers put down less than 6%. Most folks think that 20% is that magic number, and if you don't have that, you can't buy a home, but stats don't back that. So I think we find that a large percentage of all buyers put down less than 20%. In the latest rent versus buy report from Trulia, they explain that home ownership remains cheaper with a conventional 30-year fixed mortgage in 98 of the 100 largest metro areas in the United States. I believe there were 2 cities, I think, in California that renting made more sense than buying. But other than that, owning made more financial sense to most buyers. And as a matter of percentage, the national average was 26.3% less expensive to own versus rent. So let's talk briefly about the true cost of not owning your home. So here are a few of the top financial benefits of home ownership. Home ownership is a form of forced savings. With the appreciation we're seeing in the housing market, every payment you make could be money in the bank one day. Money paid for rent is money that you'll never see again, so don't forget that. But mortgage payments let you build equity ownership interest in your home. Also, home ownership provides tax savings. Mortgage interest is still tax deductible now. While some changes have been made to the tax laws, it's still a benefit. And always talk with your tax consultant to get the most out of your tax deductions and legal tax advice. Also, home ownership allows you to, as the owner, to lock in your monthly housing costs for the most part. Unlike rent, you got a fixed rate mortgage payments don't rise over the years, so your housing costs may actually decline as you own that home longer. But also keep in mind that property taxes and insurance costs will likely increase. So, and to my knowledge, no other investment allows you the use of the investment like a home. You get to live inside your investment, so that's pretty cool. Also, you got a little more freedom when you buy a home. So the home is yours. You can decorate it any way you want, choose the types of upgrades and new amenities that appeal to your lifestyle. When you rent, you don't have these options. And the other thing is remaining in one stability and remaining in one neighborhood for several years allows you and your family time to build up long-lasting relationships within the community, and it also offers the children the benefit of educational social continuity. All right, so that kind of concludes why all buyers who own the fence of buying a home in 2019 should make that decision. Bottom line is this: with home prices on the rise and mortgage rates on the rise too, the best time to buy a home in the next 5 years could be right now. Let's see, let's move into reasons to sell right now. So I found it interesting that most of the reasons for a buyer to buy right now are the same reasons for a seller to sell right now. So I won't go into the exact details, but I'd like to point out the important points. It's also important to point out that most of you that are selling your home are your buyers too. You sell your home and now you need somewhere to go, so that makes you a buyer in the market. So again, all the reasons we just went over apply to you as a seller, really. And if you're buying another home, like reasons like, for example, mortgage rates are expected to rise, and the benefits I just went over of owning a home. So let's talk a little more about inventories and how they're expected to rise in 2019. I tell you, if you can get ahead of the game as a seller before inventories rise, you will have a better chance of selling your home due to competition being lower. Less homes on the market, less competition, more showings on your property, all equals higher chances of selling your home. I found a chart that showed the times of the year that homes are listed the most. Anyone have a guess? All right, so April to June, second quarter. So January, February, and March, statistically, your competition for volume of homes on the market is less. So that's a great thing. Days on market right now is still very low. Days on market is running at extremely low numbers and have been for quite some time. The National Association of Realtors had the United States at running 42 days on market to sell. I think Chesterfield and Powhatan County are running in that range also, give or take. So what better time to sell your home knowing if you price your house in the right price range and the condition of the property is there, your home could sell in under 60 days. So another interesting chart by Quicken Loans showed that appraiser home value opinion compared to homeowner estimates were only off a negative 0.36%. So basically what the appraiser appraises a home for and the perception of value from the homeowner is right there in line with each other. And I can tell you many years that was not the case. Also, another reason that it's a good time to sell is distressed inventory is way down. And when I say distressed, I mean foreclosures and short sales. National Association of Realtors stated back in 2012, and that's not too long ago, distressed inventory was running about 35% of the sales. Today, that number is down below 5%. Big, huge difference. Again, having this number so low means the value of your property has never been stronger, and you're not competing with foreclosures and short sales that we all know reduces the value of homes in a neighborhood. So I think that's it for me today. Let's see. I think we had a couple questions that came in during the office today. Let me see. Are there any other questions that popped in?
Well, there were a few that came into our office a little earlier.
Okay.
One of them is, what if my home needs sprucing up or repairs?
Okay, so the sprucing up part, we have at Village Concepts Realty Group, we have a in-house staging department. So what that means is and this is a courtesy to you as a seller, we'll come out, we'll send a team that'll come out and evaluate your home, and they'll help you decorate your home. So if the house is just plain empty and nothing in it, we're not going to move in a full 3,000 square foot worth of furniture. But for the most part, on a home that already has some furniture in it, we can come in and we can put rugs in, and we can really help arrange things and decorate that home to make it most presentable to the public. Let's see. On that question, on the need repairs, we also have a list of contractors that we can refer to you, and we can be a liaison to that if you need us to be. But other than that, we can refer people to you, and they can come out and look at anything that you want spruced up in the house on the exterior, and if it needs a contractor to take a look at it. And also as realtors, that's kind of what we do too. We'll like to come out and before we list a home, we love to do a walkthrough with you, the homeowner. And I usually personally like to start with the outside, and we like to look at it through the eyes of a buyer, and that's what we can recommend to you as a seller to always do before we even come out. Just stand at your house and look at it, and stand out front, and just remember, a buyer's going to see it for the very first time, and try to see through their eyes. So if you got a white vinyl siding house and one side is totally green from mold, then that's something you want to address and get the mold power washed off the house. So any other
Oh
questions?
yeah, we've got another one. They ask, what fees are due when I sell?
Okay, so fees can be, for example, you have realtor fees, you have attorney fees. If you have a septic system, which a lot of people in Powhatan have, and believe it or not, people in Chesterfield too, you'll be required, if in Chesterfield, to have that tank pumped within 5 years. And I think in Powhatan now they're recommending that. If you have a well, they'll want you to have that water tested. So those are some of the fees that you will have, and these are paid at closing, by the way. And so you're not, necessarily paying a lot of these out of your pocket. You can pay them at closing time, so that's a good thing. Let's see. Okay, so any other questions that have come in? We'll hang here for another few seconds. We will also, let me point this out. We will be back. I think we're going to do this every third Thursday of each month. This is being recorded. So for anyone that checks in during this process, you can go back on the website at Village Concepts Realty Group, actually the Facebook page, and look under videos. And this video should be out there, and you can go back and look at it in its entirety if you like. Anything else?
No, I don't see anything else at this point.
Okay, nothing else, I guess, at this point. Again, my name's Charles, and my wife, Annette. We're with Village Concepts Realty Group, and if you need anything in regards to real estate, we're here to help. And let us know. We'll get right on it for you. Have a great day.